Today we are looking at the League of Nations and the reasons why the League of Nations preserved or failed to preserve peace and prevent the outbreak of another war in the world. Why did the League of Nations fail to preserve peace and the outbreak of another world war in the world? Number one, because of the fact that the League was closely linked with the Treaty of Versailles, which was considered by many people to have been harsh and unjust to Germany. Number two, the absence of big world powers such as USA. USA used to finance the European powers, especially during the war, giving them loans and military support or funding to buy the resources and the materials that they needed for war. The USA could also have been issuing sanctions to aggressive nations and help prevent the failure of the League of Nations. Number three, the League had no strong armed forces of its own, and this also weakened the League because when there were infections, the League would ask the member states to send their own troops to defend the weaker states against aggressive states. Number four, the French and British were selfish, or they had their own selfish interests. Instead of concentrating on an international focus or intention, they concentrated on, for example, Britain rebuilding her own trade and looking after her own empire, while France concentrated on building a strong army or military power in order to protect herself against a further German attack. Number five, the sanctions that were imposed were not effective. It is either the sanctions were not used or they never worked at all. For example, when sanctions were issued against Mussolini when he invaded Abyssinia in 1935, Mussolini was able to get away with it, and he was able even to ship more army to Africa and instilled war fever in the Italians. This weakened the League of Nations. Number six, the Conference of Ambassadors in Paris was an embarrassment. For example, during the Corfu incident, the Conference of Ambassadors demanded that Greek pay compensation to Italy and also directly apologize to Italy. This exposed weaknesses in the League, for example, showing that the weakest of the great powers could disagree with orders from the League. Number seven, other important powers such as Germany and USSR were only allowed to join the League much later. For example, Germany joined in 1926 and USSR joined in 1934 when Germany withdrew from the League of Nations. Also, the Geneva Protocol, which was drawn up in 1924 by both Britain and France after the Corfu incident, did not succeed. The protocol, which was drawn up in Geneva, that's why it's referred to Geneva Protocol, never succeeded because the conservative government of Britain, which took over, feared that if Britain would be forced to agree to something that was not in her own interest, it would destroy Britain. Number nine, the world economic crisis in 1929 led to economic crisis in USA, damaged trade and industry, affected relations between countries, and brought about unemployment as many people lost their jobs and the living standard declined. Number 10, the failure of the World Disarmament Conference, whereby Germany complained being the only power that had disarmed. That was after France demanded that the order to disarm be postponed for at least 8 more years. Germany took advantage of this and withdrew from the league and started to rearm the open. The league members, such as Britain, could not try to stop Germany from rearming herself. Instead, the league members also began to rearm themselves, and this was also a major weakness in the League of Nations. Following is the assignment. Go through the assignment, answer the questions that are right here, and submit your work after you have completed.